this is the time of the year where it's time. It's time to start looking where your teams match up, where they need to improve the most. And obviously for the Raiders, we've put out a draft needs video and where we think they really need to address in the draft. But I think I need to be abundantly more clear about one specific thing, and that is this. The Raiders, right now, with the way that their roster is constructed, really isn't that far off. Now, I fully expect... Now, I actually have to backtrack here. The Raiders, I never fully said this, but I was thinking about this entire time. Locker rooms are so important in a franchise, and it's really important if you have a good one to keep it somewhat together. And now Rich Bisaccia is now no longer the head coach. I believe he's going back down to special teams. But the way this team was playing for Rich Bisaccia, it really deserves a lot of credit. Like, he had that team plan. Like, you have to give it nothing but love for the man, because this was obviously clearly not supposed to be the situation this team was in before the season started. But as the head coach, Rich Bisaccia made the most of it. Like, he had this team, he brought it to the playoffs at what? 6-7. This team, including myself, for a lot of people, including myself, we wrote this team off. We did. I was one of them. Even though I gave them a lot of love, there were times I did write them off. But they came back under Rich Bisaccia and played out of their minds, especially defensively down the stretch. Now, offensively, could they have been better? Yes. But they made the playoffs. What is the point of all this, Colton? Well, the point is this. The Las Vegas Raiders aren't that far off. In other words, I can fully see the Raiders getting one player, a wide receiver in the draft, and things totally end up being okay. Listen, like, I could see them maybe getting a little bit of help on offensive line and wide receiver, and that be it. Like, I would be okay with that. I would be okay if the Raiders went and traded up. Obviously, you want them to address the couple needs, but I would be okay if they traded up for a major player that they felt could really impact the franchise, as long as they got some help along the offensive line and another number one wide receiver. Because yes, Hunter Renfrow is a number one wide receiver, and I needed to make sure I really specified that. But again, I could be okay with the Raiders go ahead and trading for a player or trading up for a player like a Jordan Davis, and there's a lot of other players we can go on, and we'll get more into that in the draft. But overall, as the Raiders team stands right now, let's put this into perspective real quick. The Raiders were one possession away, one better decision by Derek Carr away, and probably a better play call if we're being honest, from at least tying the Bengals. Like, that game almost went into overtime. Nobody's thinking this. And now the Bengals are in the Super Bowl. So what does that tell me? The Raiders are close. Like, they are not far off. They don't need to go out and get all these huge free agent signings, even though I personally would love it. We have been putting out videos that we think there's a couple players that they should add. Guys like J.C. Jackson, and I think Hassan Reddick is another one. But overall, it really cannot be overstated that this particular Las Vegas Raiders team ain't far off. No, absolutely not. I think moving forward, this team has to know that, in my opinion, if they had a number one wide receiver, and again, nothing but prayers for the Henry Ruggs situation and everybody involved, but if that situation did not happen, I think the Raiders win that game. Like, I'm not trying to, like, obviously the situation, football, again, you pray for everyone involved in that situation. But if the Raiders had another wide receiver that was any kind of a threat other than Zay Jones and Brian Edwards, who decides when he wants to show up sometimes, it's like, I don't know that they would lose that. If you put Jamar Chase on the Raiders right now, and I know obviously he's not going anywhere from the Bengals, but if you put Jamar Chase on the Raiders, wow. I honestly think they would have one of the most explosive offenses in the entire league. So the main thing I'm taking away from this offseason, if at the very least they retain all the same players that they had from last year, guys still play up to the potential, which is another thing in itself. I don't think the Raiders need to do a whole lot. Like, a worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, if you can just add a number one wide receiver and maybe a little bit of offensive line help, I think this team's back in the playoffs. I really do. No matter what happens with Derek Carr, I think he needs to be re-signed, and definitely because you can win with Derek Carr. I think that definitely, we've said that a lot, but I think overall, this team, it's got the pieces. I think it's got the coaching and the upper management intact, right now to make a run. And I think moving forward this offseason will be very telling. Obviously, we'll see how the draft unfolds. But overall, this is a very exciting time, especially if you're a Raiders fan. I think overall, you take a look at being one possession. Again, it's not even just the fact that they were one possession away from any team. It's the fact that they were one possession away from the Bengals. And don't get me wrong, the Bengals have played out of their mind this year as well. They've earned every bit of the praise that they've gotten. But if the Raiders are one play away from tying and potentially beating the now AFC Super Bowl contenders for at least participants for the moment, man, I don't think the Raiders need to go out and do a whole lot of different things via free agency. I mean, maybe one or two players, like we said, in J.C. Jackson, and a guy like Rashad, the other player that we put out a video for, Hassan Reddick. I'm sorry. I just don't feel like they need to do a whole lot. And I think they would be getting away from themselves. They would be doing themselves and the team a disservice if they went out and signed a whole bunch of free agent players. And I just don't think that's it. I think they need to continue this, and especially I think what this franchise will do now moving forward is build through the draft and have continued success. I think that's absolutely 100% possible. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome, and we love every single one of you. Check us out on iTunes as well. Give us a listen and sub there. That wasn't very smooth, was it? Also, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, or put it in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about what we think about the Las Vegas Raiders not being that far off.